As you can see, based on some of my previous videos, I've covered some different options when it comes to Steam Deck docking solutions. Some inexpensive choices from Amazon sellers, and even the official docking station from Valve themselves. To be honest with you, I haven't done much docking of my deck, even though I have a ton of options at my disposal. But when BenQ offered to send over their beCreatus GR10 Ultimate USB4 mobile dock, I knew that I had to get my hands on it and see what BenQ was doing with their version of a Steam Deck dock and what sets them apart from all the other options that are out there. Full disclosure, BenQ sent this dock over to me free of charge in exchange for an honest review. No money has exchanged hands. All opinions are my own, and BenQ didn't get to see this video before it went live, so they're seeing it at the same time as you. Right off the bat, I think this dock is perfect for a specific type of person. This person probably has a MacBook or some other laptop that has USB-C that can be used with a docking solution like this, so that they can come home and plop their laptop on their desk and use their computer with an extra monitor and have all of their peripherals already all set up. This person also probably has a gaming handheld like a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally. When they're done with work for the day, they can just unplug their laptop and plug in their handheld to wind down and get some gaming in. That's where I think the GR10 shines. Taking a look at the dock itself, on the back you can see that it has a USB-C PD in that supports up to a 100-watt charger. Next to that is an HDMI 2.1 port that supports up to 1080p at 360 Hz, 4K at 120 Hz, or 8K at 60 Hz. I know that this may seem overkill for something like a gaming handheld, but if you're using it with your laptop, this is the only docking solution that I've seen that's meant to be portable and have all of the features that it does that includes HDMI 2.1. Next is a USB-A 10 gigabits per second port, a 2.5 gigabit LAN port, which again is not something that you see on docks like this, and another 10 gigabits per second USB-A port. On one side, there is another thing that you don't typically see on the cheaper docking solutions, a 10 gigabits per second USB-C port for data transfer or whatever else. And on the opposite side, that's where the cable comes out. And while it's tucked into the bottom, it creates this loop. The cable doesn't totally disappear with it sticking out on the side like this, but overall, the dock is still nice and compact for travel. Taking a look at the bottom, the big rubber foot that has the BenQ logo and some other regulatory text on it is nice and grippy, so that should help keep it from sliding around your desk or entertainment center. And here we can get a better look at the bottom side where the cable tucks into the dock itself. Fun thing is there is a removable 90-degree USB connector or adapter that fits in here too, where you can take it off and it magnetically stores in the bottom, so you don't have to worry about losing it if you're using the dock without the adapter, which is kind of neat. And here's what really makes this a PC gaming handheld dock. It's the little stand that flips out so you can set your device into it. The materials used to make this dock are really nice feeling. The aluminum alloy that makes up the majority of the device feels smooth and durable. The plastics used for the flip out stand feel nice and premium. And the rubber padding on the inside of the stand as well as the bottom feel really nice as well. Pretty much what you'd expect from a name brand product from someone like BenQ. Like I was saying before, I think this would be a great addition for someone's setup to help simplify connecting everything up to both a laptop and a gaming handheld. I don't personally own a laptop or a phone with a USB-C port, so I went over to my buddy Jake's house to test this functionality. And yeah, it looks like it works really well. We tried his M1 MacBook and it was pretty easy to get it hooked up and to add a second display. I could really see how this kind of setup would be super appealing to someone that wants to only have one computer, and that computer being a laptop. And then for fun, we hooked up his iPhone that has USB-C, and that came up no problem, albeit with some big black bars around it because of the resolution mirroring. I'm not sure how useful the phone functionality truly is, but it was worth trying just to see what would happen. After watching some other people's reviews of this dock, I thought I would have a section where I just tried different handhelds that I have access to, with and without cases on them, to give you a better idea of what is really compatible with the flip-out stand built into the GR10. Steam Deck LCD fits great. Steam Deck OLED fits no problem. Steam Deck with a JSOX mod case doesn't really fit, but it kind of works. The original ROG Ally fits all right. The ROG Ally with JSOX mod case also doesn't really fit, but you can kind of get away with it. I'm someone that likes to keep a case on my device all the time, so I would have liked to see more compatibility with larger devices and devices with cases on them. But I get that it would make the dock a little less small and portable. I've heard and seen that the ROG Ally X doesn't fit in this because of how much thicker Asus made the redesign of that handheld. I found this must-read before buying list on their Amazon listing, and I think it's actually pretty helpful if you're considering getting something like the GR10. The first thing is ensure your device has a USB-C interface that supports DP alt mode output. Basically what that means is that it allows USB-C equipped computers to connect directly to a display or monitor. The next thing says compatible with the Steam Deck LCD and OLED, ROG Ally, MSI Claw, and Legion Go, so it should be totally compatible with all of those devices. Avoid using thick protective cases as they may not fit properly in the 21.5mm groove base. So we kind of already went over this, and yeah, when we put cases on both the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, it doesn't really fit. You can kind of make it work, but it's not really how it's supposed to work. On Mac, the resolution is capped at 4K 60Hz due to Apple's limitations. So yeah, I didn't really test this sort of stuff when I was over at Jake's house. I think the monitor that we hooked it up to was a 1440p display, but I didn't really it was like a really quick thing that we did, and I didn't really think to look at the refresh rate of the display. So I don't really know, but I would trust this, I guess. For steady operation, the GR10 consumes 15 watts while charging. So I wonder if that means, like, say you use the Steam Deck's original charger, which I think they're 45 watts. I wonder if it won't charge it properly using this dock. You may have to use something like a 65 watt or like a 100 watt charger. I'm gonna have to test that. Here I have the dock connected with the Steam Deck's original power supply. It looks like it's charging just fine. I'm gonna say that you can use the original charger from the Steam Deck with this dock and it should work just fine. And the last thing here is avoid using HDMI to DisplayPort cables or adapters. Anyway, I think this is a pretty good list. So here's what some would consider the GR10's only real downside: the price. It's on Amazon right now for $109 US, which is pretty steep for just a Steam Deck dock. But I think it's important to consider that it's more than just a dock intended only for a Steam Deck or gaming handheld. It's meant to do more than that, providing connectivity for other devices, notably your laptop. And with its premium build and excellent set of features that outweigh the cheaper competition, I think it's a justifiable price point. What's the saying? Buy once, cry once? Meaning spend more and get the nice thing that can be multi-purpose, rather than spending less money on something that's only really intended to be used exclusively with just gaming handhelds. Let's wrap up with me sharing some things that I like about the GR10 and some things that I think could be improved. Let's start with the things that I like. First, I like how small and travel-friendly this dock is. It's great for just throwing in your bag without worrying about the cable flopping around and scratching other things in your bag. Next, I think the fit and finish on the GR10 is pretty great. Also, I really like the features. HDMI 2.1, 10 gigabits per second USB ports, and 2.5 gigabit LAN are all awesome to see in such a small portable dock. And last, I have to mention just the overall design. The flip out stand is really nice for portability, and I think it's built really well. Okay, now let's talk about some of the things that I think could be improved with this dock. This is a pretty easy one to point out in my opinion, and that's the lack of a second port for another display, either in the form of DisplayPort or another HDMI. Maybe there's a limitation here because of that HDMI 2.1 port, or because they tried to keep it as small as possible. I guess it just depends on what you really need out of your dock, but I'm at least a 2-monitor guy. Another thing that I noticed that isn't a total deal breaker, but I thought I'd mention it, is the USB-C right angle adapter not having any sort of angle to it, like the OG Valve dock. That angle to get your thumb under always made using the Valve dock just a little bit easier to use. But that's just a personal preference thing, I think. And lastly, I would like to see a revision in the future that accommodates for thicker handhelds, and subsequently handhelds with cases on them. Having to take the case off from my Steam Deck to properly use this dock is kind of a bummer, but I can live with it. But what do you think of the BenQ Creatus GR10 Ultimate USB 4 mobile dock? Do you think it's worth the price? If you dock your gaming handheld or laptop, what do you use? Leave all of that and your thoughts in the comments below. If you got any value from today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so that you can see when I upload videos in the future. And if you're interested in picking up a GR10 for yourself, I'll leave a link below for you to check out. That's all for this video. Have a good week.